Ron and Romane. And unfortunately, Romane can't be with us today. She is at a momentous event. Romane is expecting her first grandchild. So, our congratulations to Romane and family. So, this morning we come on and we want to offer to the family of Harry Belafonte, the great Harry Belafonte. Many people know him from his acting music career, but he is best known in the Black community with contributions to the civil rights movement and struggle. So I share to the late great Harry Belafonte. So I was talking to a friend yesterday, and I know people time um, there's a perception amongst Black women that Black men are abandoned in favor of women of other ethnicities. So I decided I was doing a little research, and I went on and I checked it out. You know, everybody's sort of Google nowadays. So Google? Yes. Yeah, I went to Dr. Google and I looked it up, and apparently the perception that women have, always Black women have, is not factual. If the statistics are correct, when brothers get married, 85% of those marriages are of Black women. So this idea that Black men are abandoning Black women in mass is solely perception. There's not a lot of truth to it. Now, there were some disturbing findings that Dr. Wu came up with, and that is that brothers just don't want to get married. In terms of all classes of people, and I don't want to say race, because that's a social construct, physically, but really. So, of all classes of men, in terms of percentage of marriage, Black men rank last. We just are not going down the aisle and jumping on the stick. And of course, what does that translate to? That translates to more single parent households, more women struggling to raise children alone. And being a football fan, I was watching the draft the other night, and I was keen on seeing as each name was called for these athletes, and congratulations to all of them. I wanted to see how many of these young Black athletes were going to have both parents at the ceremony. And unfortunately, it seems as if there was a small percentage that had both parents there. And what struck me was there were a few athletes that by today's standards are called biracial. Um, Initially, it was the old standards. You had one drop of Black blood, you were Black. So if we're going to go according to the old standard, these Black athletes who had a Caucasian mother, African American father, well, when his name was called, both parents were present. So that may feed into this perception that Black women have that, well, here's a prime example of what we're saying. We struggle all our lives to raise these young boys and to get them prepared for this chapter of their life they're entering in professional sports. We here alone, fathers nowhere to be found. Yet when it comes to the Caucasian woman, the brother's standing right next to her. So I guess it feeds that perception, or maybe a belief that women other than Black women are treated better by Black men. You know, which opens up a whole other argument. You know, there's so many perceptions of Black women out there, and I think one of the things that sort of drives that is media, right? Well, some of it's social media, some of it's stuff like the Real Housewives of Atlanta.
Yes. Well, right? Well, Ron, I've always said pop culture shapes the minds and mold, shape and mold the minds of people.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, a few weeks ago, the sistership was in here,
Uh-huh.
and they did a great show about women in general,
Right.
you know, and they talk about relationships. It doesn't matter who chooses who. You love who you love.
Absolutely.
If the chemistry is right, if the energy is right, it don't matter what nationality or race you are. Love is love.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we have to remove that from the equation.
Mm-hmm.
All right, because when you use that, you're looking for an excuse for your failure.
That's
You
true.
know what I mean? Stop looking for an excuse for why you failed.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But one of the things that I said that, you know, and Sherry was leading that show, you know, who's a biracial woman herself, right?
Right.
Is that women today have taken on so much masculine energy, right?
Mm-hmm.
That they have to learn to get out of their way, their own way.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I listened to that show and I sat there and I said to myself, and I mentioned to them, I said, you know what? There was a time when me and Sherry had a show that we did, and we kind of talked about the same subject. Me and you did a show together with Vince and everybody else, and we kind of talked about the same subject, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we were blasted by women. We were blasted. They said we didn't like women. We had issues with women and all this other stuff, right? But here it is, women are getting frustrated now. So they're having the same conversation now.
Mm-hmm.
How do we get back to some normalcy? You know what I mean?
Right.
It's kind of like Donald Trump and Joe Biden. It ain't that people love Joe Biden. They just couldn't stomach Donald Trump anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? So you had to choose between Donald Trump or Joe Biden. They're two messy old men. But you had to choose the less of the two evils.
Right.
So you chose Biden. All right. So now these women are seeing this within each other. Right. Listen to the potty mouth music that the women are making. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So stop attacking other nationalities of women for your failure. All right. Raise your daughters to be women. Because I just asked Rud's dad, who just had a birthday, you know, wish him a happy birthday as well on the 26th. You know, was women the same 40 years ago? Are they are today? They are today. You know, and he pretty much said no.
Well, no, they weren't. It was a different time. And, you know, one thing I want to do, I want to open up the phone line because Roman A is not here today. Normally, we would have some feminine energy to give, you know, the woman's side, the woman's perspective, and we don't have that today. So I'm going to open up the phone lines. The number is 888-304-4401. Again, 888-304-4401. You know, Terry and I aren't trying to be the extreme right wing of the Republican Party that just dictates to women and doesn't give women their fair say. So we'd like some ladies to call in and offer their opinion. Because I know this is a perception amongst Black women that Black, you know, abandoning.
I hope Stefania called in because she was part of that show, the sistership. She should call in.
Okay.
That would be great.
Well, you know, it's a perception, and statistically, it's not correct. But it's something that women, particularly Black women, believe. And it's something that, you know, we have enough trouble getting together, forming relationships. And if these statistics are correct, again, we're not married. We're not getting married. So what happens is we have another generation of women raising young boys, raising families alone. And it's a trend that we have to reverse. You know, because last night, like I said, I'm looking at the draft. And for these young men who should be applauded because they worked hard for so many years for this opportunity, But for children that are being born right now and that will be born in the future, if our trend continues of not marrying and having nuclear families, it's sad to say that the percentage of those that go on to college and graduate and go into professional sports is probably just as high or higher for that percentage to go to jail.
Absolutely.
Right. And spend time incarcerated or caught up in the system, the criminal justice or criminal injustice system. So that's the trend we need to reverse. And I know that there are so many social, economic, and other pressures that may drive Black men away.
Well, let me just jump in right? You know, I can only talk about what I know.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I grew up in a household full of Black women.
Mm-hmm.
My father was, I describe him as Superman,
Mm-hmm.
right? And he raised me to be a certain way. A lot of things was good behavior, right?
Absolutely.
We wasn't a perfect family. We wasn't like, the Cosbys or anything like that. We was a realistic family that trials and tribulations and all the problems everybody else had, right?
Mm-hmm.
But one thing, we knew who we were, right? And there was a level of respect, a level of self-respect, right? And anything that was disrespectful to themselves that my sisters may have done, they hid it from my parents.
Mm-hmm.
They hid it from the household. It was not accepted. All right. Nowadays, the parents are co-signing the sexualization of their daughters.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Use what you got to get what you want.
Right.
You know what I mean? They are endorsing the negative stereotypes that are actually turning men off to their daughters. Like I give you a perfect example, right? All that masculine energy that women take on, they've been brainwashed with you are the backbone of the family. You are the strong Black woman. They brought into that, right? Okay, I'm cool with that, right? But the problem here is I'm a man that grew up in a loving household that had some family values,
Mm-hmm.
old school family values, right? Where my mother was independently dependent. My mother called the shots. You can still call the shots.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But you gotta allow the man to be a man, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, these women can't do that. And now, what it's like, Ron, me being a heterosexual man, right? And I have nothing against gay people or anything like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's just my preference, right? Dating some of these women, Black women, it's like being in a homosexual relationship.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It is.
Really?
Yes, because you know what? She wants to be the man and the woman in the relationship, right?
I think it comes down to one word, submission. And I think that it is a difficult concept for men and women. So, there is a theory that for every action, there's an opposite and equal reaction.
Yes.
So, for centuries, men have dominated the landscape socially, politically, economically.
Yes.
Men dictated to
And I think that's wrong.
And it was.
Absolutely.
So at some point, women said, you know what? We have God-given rights. We don't need rights given to us by these men.
I concur.
We come into the planet. We come onto the planet with God-given rights.
Be equal. Let's be equal.
So I think what happened in this country, the first movement that took hold was the suffrage movement, when white women demanded the right to vote. So that was in the 19th century. But by the 20th century, what really set women on this course of independence was something called the pill. With the advent of the contraceptive pill, women said, I don't have to be pregnant, barefooted at home.
Mm-hmm.
I can control contraception.
Mm-hmm.
I can go out. I can get a job, right? I can bring in some money. I can be a contributor to this family. And as economic changes took place where it costs more to maintain a family, well, women were out there on the front lines with men. And over time, women organized and they said, you know what? We're going to have an equal rights amendment. We're going to have the National Organization of Women. We're going to establish power for ourselves. So, does that necessarily translate into when I get home, I'm going to ride the back seat?
No.
I'm going to submit to this man? I went to college, I got a master's degree. I'm a lawyer, I'm a doctor. I'm the primary breadwinner. Do I submit to this man in any way?
Well, Ron, what happened to choosing that? You know what? Millio saying
That's wisdom.
Happy wife, happy life.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Well, how does that equate to a happy husband? You know what I'm saying? Because let me say something to you, right? There should be a partnership to bring joy to one another.
Absolutely.
Right? It should be a partnership. And you can do all these things, right? You can be the breadwinner. You can have all this great education. You can do all of that, right? It's not about submitting. You know what I mean? Take that professional cap and you come off when you get home.
Mm-hmm.
Come home and be my wife. Be the mother of the children. Let's be a family.
Mm-hmm.
Leave work at work.
Right.
You know what I mean? Let's court each other and date each other at home. Let's be in love.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But if you keep wanting to be the boss and bully me around, because it's nothing more than being bullied. You know what I mean? You gotta do what I say, when I say, how I say, because that's what it is. You know what I mean? The abandonment they feel abandonment because most of us have to deal with the real world. And the ills of the 19th century are still here today in the 21st century.
Right.
That we as men of color have to deal with every day.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Systemic racism is so real that people don't even realize they're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
They're innocent of systemic racism because it's been normalized and culturalized, right? But we still feel the stigma, right? So we got to deal with the world. Why we want to come home and have to battle with our wife?
And that is the question or the problem. Because if you have women who grew up taking part in some way or seeing family members, sometimes close family members, engage in the National Organization of Women, in women's movement. And let's be realistic. There's the talk that women have. Don't you rely on no man. Don't you trust no man. Make sure you can take care of yourself. Don't expect him to do it. So that erodes the trust that women have in men. And I guess that's across the board, right? I don't want to just say specifically Black women because, women in general are dealing with that. But I think what it comes down to is, for many men, is that if the woman is the primary breadwinner and she comes home and she says, I don't want to take a back seat. I don't even want to sit in the passenger seat. I'm driving the car. What effect would that have on the man? Does he stay under those conditions? And I guess it comes down to a matter of self-esteem. I guess it comes down to his economic situation. You know, do you have the money to leave to go get another house or apartment? You know, if you are, we have a caller coming in. Good morning, caller. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Linda Phillips from Galveston, Texas.
Good morning, Linda from Texas. How are you?
I'm doing good. I love the subject you're talking about. I agree with a lot of things.
Linda, if you can hear, please call back. It looks like we lost our connection, but call back. So, you know, there we go.
This is speaker.
That is speaker, right?
No, on the bottom it just says speaker.
I did.
When it rings, just hit the speaker button.
Okay.
Call back, Linda. Just hit speaker. All right. Call back again. I'll do it. Call back again, Linda.
We're sorry, Linda. We're having some technical difficulties.
Call back.
But we will get you on. Go ahead.
Let's see if we get on.
So anyway, yeah, this is a problem, you know, amongst, and I don't want to just say it's a problem only within the African American community. You know, this is a situation that probably goes across the board, right? You know, there are no perfect relationships. So I think a little bit of that comes into play, regardless of your ethnicity, where you live, or socioeconomic status. I think that, you know, for women who, like I said, were either directly involved in this, I don't want to say power struggle, because it's not really. I think that when you deny people power, when you deny them access, of course, you know, in this country, well, I shouldn't say in this country, across the world, we seem to think it is wrong for people to want freedom. So when independence movements sprung up in places like Africa, you know, the question is, why do you want independence? Because that is how we are created. God gives us freedom. We come into the world with a degree of freedom. And when it's taken from us, yes, we yearn for it. So for women who were denied access, you know, politically, socially, economically, yes, they wanted the freedom to have, even today with this whole debate over abortion. How do we as men tell women, listen, you need to carry this child to full term like it or not? That's the decision that we have made for you. You
Wrong. Men should not have that power over women, in my opinion.
And I agree with you, right? If we are not the ones carrying the baby, we don't have a womb, we can't carry the baby. So we should not be the ones to make the determination of when and where a woman is going to, you know, bring a child into this world. And you know, some of these far right Republicans have said, look, you're going to carry this child, even if it poses a risk to you, to your life, and the life of this child. They don't make exceptions in some of these more drastic laws that they've come up with. In fact, down in Florida, Governor DeSantis just signed an abortion ban after the 6th week. So essentially, a woman will have to have an abortion before she even realizes she's pregnant. Hello, caller. Where you calling from?
Hey, this is Brenda from Galveston, Texas.
Oh, Linda, we're so sorry. We had a little technical difficulty, but please give us your comment.
Well, I'm agreeing with a lot of the things y'all are saying, as far as y'all are looking at both the ways, like some of the things.
Oh man, the call dropped again. I'm gonna call Linda back. I'm gonna call her back.
Okay.
I'm gonna call her back. So I don't know, but we're gonna call Linda back.
Yeah, Linda, we're not sure what's going on. I'm not sure if it's a weather-related thing because we're having rain here on the East Coast. So I'm not sure. But
I'm gonna call her back.
But TP's gonna call you back so that you can take part because it's really unfair for us two men to have this conversation and no feminine energy to represent. So we would love to hear from you. And other ladies who have an opinion, please call in and join our conversation. Because again, we're not like the far right, the Republican Party, that just dictates and says this is how it's going to be.
Hello?
Got you, Linda.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if I got kicked off or not.
No, you didn't get kicked off.
Did I do okay?
No. You're on the air right now. I just called you from another means because we're having a problem with our phone system up here. I don't know what's going on over here. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah. So go ahead. Say your opinion. We got you.
Oh, okay. What I was just going to say is that I agree with a lot of the things that y'all were saying, and I came up with mom and dad in the house as well. So it does make a difference when you have both together. And I was agreeing with you when you're at work, you need stuff at work, you come home, you be the husband, you be the wife, and the family that you need to be when you're there. Because what you don't want to do is take that moment that y'all have together away and leave the stuff at work behind. And just like, with all the stuff that you've been making, depend on no man and stuff, a lot of people's been putting that in people's ears for the last like the 15, 20 years now that I noticed. And it's not true. I mean, you got to be strong and got to handle your business. But you still got to, select your place, but follow the golden rule, treat each other like you want to be treated. And as far as the headship, if you're married, that's your husband is your headship. A lot of women don't want to admit that, but when I was growing up, we grew up in church, that's what they brought out. Now, you don't be over demanding about it, but you can say, hey, just like for instance, you want to move because you have a better job, and the husband says, hey, and brings it to your attention. But you have the headship, it's like, we're going to move because I know this will be better for our family. You ask to him and say, yes, wherever you want to go. Because the fact of it is, he's a headship. Now, there's be something might be some problems, and the woman say, hey, I got this and that, and y'all sit down and talk about it. See, because you can throw your headship away. I mean, away. But if you do it in a loving and the way it's supposed to be, it can be beautiful. And that's what a lot of people don't see. Oh, don't depend on a man, or don't depend on this, being a dog. There's men and women are dogs. There's ones that are happy and satisfied, and they don't go cheat because they have what they have at home. A lot of it is what you do at home and how you respect each other's opinions and keep it balanced, and that's the best way you can go because a lot of this stuff is happening because it's not that way. That's my opinion.
We know something. Thank you for your opinion. I thank you for calling in and being so patient with us.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank y'all for having the show. It's really good. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. Right. Well, we finally were able to talk to Linda. We
all the way from Galveston, Texas.
All the way from Galveston, Texas.
How about that?
Oh yeah. It's good to hear that people listening as far away as Galveston. And Linda made some very valid points. But I wonder if that is the thinking of the vast majority of women in this country.
It's not.
It's not. It's refreshing to hear that, but is she the exception to the rule?
Well, first of all, it's only right that I assume that Linda's a seasoned woman of a certain age, that she gets it. You know, the key things that she said, the way she was raised. She had a structured background. These younger women today don't have a structured background because, Ron, I just worked with a major artist that I was supposed to do some songwriting with, right? And she's a potty mouth artist, right? Potty mouth. Can sing, very talented, potty mouth. But everything is tattoos, getting high, drinking, partying, super sexualized. Right? And there was a conversation with her mother. Her mother was on the phone. And the girl made a comment that was horrible, that was offensive to me and the other older gentleman that was part of this meeting, this conversation. Her mother laughed, thought it was funny, right? Now this girl was in her 20s, right? Her mother is barely in her 40s, right? They too close in age, right? They like the same stuff, right? Come to find out, the mother got one foot in the strip club and one foot out, right? So who raised the daughter? So why is the daughter a potty mouth, tattooed up, super sexualized, right? What type of man's going to want her? Because the guy in the strip club, believe it or not, that's just his fantasy. Right. He's not going home to the stripper. Right. He's going home to that lame librarian, the little story about the, like a librarian or whatever. You know? He going home to something that's lame. She ain't tapped up, and she respects him. He respects her. They raised a nice little family. She got the big beautiful home in the suburbs with the white picket fence, the car and the dog, and the son and daughter. You know, and the dog named Phoebe. You know what I'm saying? Dream. Absolutely. You know what I mean? But this young girl who's a super talent out there right now, is going to be a 1-2 hit wonder because she's making music for the strip club stuff. Her mother's co-signing it. So how is she ever going to be a wife? You know what I mean? I made a post the other day that said, if there's nothing for sale, take the sign out the window.
I saw that.
You know what I mean?
I saw that.
If you look through your timeline on social network, all these disgruntled black women, right, who think that black men are abandoning them, right? Why are y'all advertising sex? That's all you bring to the table? Because if that's all you bring to the table, that's all they want. Because where can I take you? Right. If that's all you advertise.
Okay, so you raised a very valid point, right, about the advertising. And I agree with you, right? If it's not for sale, don't put it on display. And you know, I like to go to the gym. And have you noticed women's gym apparel lately? Right. Now we're talking about advertising. So when you walk into the gym and you put on makeup and you have on the tightest exercise equipment known to man, what are you saying? Are you there to work out?
No.
Or do you have an ulterior motive?
A lot of that's that newfound freedom, right? And which is okay. I get it. You know what? Some of these God-given assets, no matter what you put on, you can't hide it. You know what I'm saying? And I get that, right? You know, and if you come in the gym and you need to work out and you're working out, you know the difference between the women that came to work out and they just built like that from the women that came in there trying to sell something.
But here's the thing. If you have God-given voluptuousness, right? Or, you know, you're heavy in the hips. No, you can't hide it. But do you need to accentuate it in the gym?
No, you don't need to, but they do because I go to retro fitness.
Mm-hmm.
Retro, you're going to send me a check. I'll just shout y'all out for free.
There you go.
And right here in this area, there's two retros. I go to the one in Marshall Street.
Yeah, and I go to the other one.
And you go to the other one, right?
Yeah.
I refuse to go to one on 611
Mm-hmm.
because it's too crowded, too many young people, too much hanging out and fraternizing, and too much of what you just talked about running around there.
Mm-hmm.
Too many distractions. Now, down in Marshall Street, it's a little bit of the same. Less hanging out, more older people coming from work, coming in there to get their workout on and go home. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You don't have the little tender morsels running around, walking back and forth, people behind you, see you looking at them walk by and all that other stuff, and you know, there to be seen. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because some of them are there looking for a come up. You know what I mean? So yes, it's a problem. You know what I mean? But it's up to the seasoned individuals to know what they want in their life. You know what I mean? Everybody won't go to the porn store and go to a marathon. Right. And that's what these women know, right? Most heterosexual men, and I'm talking to black women exclusively, that want a woman, don't want to be arguing and fussing and fighting with this woman.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because that's not being in a homosexual relationship. You know, two men gonna fight. You know what I mean? If they're not gay, two men gonna fight.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So what's gonna happen is he's going to leave. You know what I'm saying? Then the other thing is, y'all think that big body tattooing is sexy. Well, who y'all doing that for? You know what I mean? You gotta do whatever you want to do, but who you doing that for?
You know, I think that's just a trend because I see, you know, a lot of these professional athletes basically covered nearly head to toe in tattoos. I guess that's just a fashion statement or trend that's been going on for the last, 15, 20 years.
But Ron, you're going to get one opportunity to make a first impression.
And you're 100% right.
And you can't take that stuff off.
You can, but it's even more painful to take it off than to put it on. And it's expensive as well. So it's a long, drawn-out process to remove it. So most people are going to have that for the rest of their life. And you wonder why you're not getting a call back when you apply for jobs. You know, I mean, you got some people that go as far as to tattoo their faces, their heads, you know, and wonder why my prospects at you know, a decent career are so limited. But, you know, going back to what I was saying about the idea of submission, I think that is the very word itself kind of invokes controversy. There's a negativity attached to it. Nobody wants to submit to the other party, husband, wife. Nobody wants to be able to say, or say in honesty that, hey, look, I understood, right? And it's not about always being right. If it is just about me being right, and it's going to cost me my relationship, cost me my family, do I really need to be right all the time? Sometimes you have to submit for the sake of holding on to that which you believe is precious. And if you have a wife at home and you have children, I guess you have to ask yourself, do I want to be right? Do I want to have my family? I guess it's a question for all of us, male and female. You know, is it about being right? Is it about power? Or is it about building family that we're lacking in certain communities?
I think power is the ultimate goal. Power and control. Because you know what? At one point in life, people want to be successful, right?
Right.
And to gain wealth was the goal.
Mm-hmm.
And once you gain wealth and had all the material things, it wasn't fun. And the next thing you want is power.
Mm-hmm.
Power and control. Look at Donald Trump.
Oh yeah.
Donald Trump had all the money he could ever spend, but it wasn't enough.
Mm-hmm.
He needed power.
Mm-hmm.
You know, now it was the power that he needed. You know what I mean? So it's a cycle that go through. And see, these are people are so far behind, and we're constantly playing catch up, right? And in life, we're constantly playing catch up. So, you know, we haven't really had enough time to gain the spiritual ear to listen. Because you know what? Our women don't listen to us anymore. They don't listen anymore. Because we can tell them every day what we like and what we want, right? And when the censorship did their show a couple weeks ago, they literally said some of the exact same things we're saying.
Mm-hmm.
But because it came from them, it's acceptable. Coming from us, it's not acceptable. You know what I mean? A man will tell you exactly how do you like your chicken fried? When you go to KFC and you order chicken, they say, do you want original, crispy, or baked?
Mm-hmm.
You choose which one you like.
Right.
Right? And they serve you what you like. You want mashed potatoes or you want fries? You want corn? You want baked beans? They ask you what you like. You tell what you like. They give you what you like.
Absolutely.
Right? Ultimately, the choice is yours. Right? Kind of like Burger King, have it your way. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but with our women, we can't do that anymore. It's like, yeah, this is what it is.
You know, I think that goes back to what we were saying about the role inside the home. If the woman is the primary breadwinner, and she, and in as much decides that, look, I'm going to make the decisions, the financial decision for the household. I guess a lot of that comes from women with these feelings of abandonment. But you know, Romany and I will talk, and she'll say, talk about the perception that it appears black men have toward black women. Now, part of that is created by black women. When you see the Real Housewives of Atlanta, when you see, it's off the air now, Basketball Wives, that is the negative stereotypes that are being transmitted around the world.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I get it. You're paid to play a role, but is any of that reality? How much of it is reality? So that is the debate that we've been having, right, over perception. And you know, this is a conversation that we're going to have again.
Around, we got to get at least 4 women in the room with us.
Yeah.
Maybe 3.
Yeah.
With me and you.
Yeah.
Because we need women from different age groups
And walks of life.
To voice their opinion, because they have a voice too. And they have their reasoning for it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, why they have to take on so much masculine energy. They have a reason for it. You know, they're not totally at fault, but we have to come to an understanding where we can get back together and we can heal.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're just constantly hurting one another
in our community.
You know what I mean? And you know what? Don't be mad at the man who decided that he's giving up on the black woman. Doesn't mean that he raped any other type of woman higher than you.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that the mindset makes the difference.
Well, like you said, it's a matter of preference.
Absolutely. Right? You know who you love.
Exactly. And it doesn't mean that one is any greater or lesser than the other. It's just a matter of preference. But I think you're right. You know, typically Romany is here with us. So we can get like maybe 1 or 2 other women to come in and have this discussion.
And I need one of the young girls with the weed, the tattoos, and the potty mouth. We need one of them in here.
You think so?
Yes, we need, because we gotta find out what makes them tick.
Well, that's true.
What makes you tick?
It will be interesting to hear their perspective as well. So that's something we're going to work on. And, you know, I want to thank Linda again, calling all the way from Galveston. And I hope you will continue to listen and support Genesis on this platform. And I thank you for those who did listen, for those who participated. And we're going to see you again right here next Saturday. And we're going to have some more thought-provoking conversation. So y'all have a good Saturday.
All right, y'all. Thanks for calling in.